Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So we had a really big week in terms of both sales numbers and listing numbers. So let's take a look at what happened. So in Georgetown last week, we had 18 sales. That is a very big number for Georgetown. Anything over like 12 or 13 is sort of uncharacteristic. So it's a higher number than we would normally be seeing. So 18 sales, quite a bit. But in the same breath, we had 25 new listings. So that is a ton of new listings. And so I really am convinced that we're following sort of that up and down pattern that we saw through last April. We're following it this April, but I think in the coming weeks, we are going to start to see new listings consistently outpacing our sales. And that really is going to be, I think, the catalyst for our inventory starting to climb a bit through this spring market because it's very busy with buyers right now. Something to talk about in terms of the 18 sales in Georgetown. None of them were over 1.5 million. So once again, we're seeing the lower price point selling, but over 1.5 million is certainly still struggling. 7 of them were between 1 and 1.5. So we are seeing quite a bit of stuff happening in that million plus price point. That price point was hurting for a while, but now that things are stronger in the lower price points, those people are, you know, your $900,000 homes are thinking about moving up. And so they're purchasing those million to million five price point homes. So all the market is really moving again. And so seeing those sales is a good sign, but still those higher ticket things are not moving, especially the way they were last year. And also of the 18 sales, 7 of them got over asking. So we are again in that market where we're seeing some multiple offer situations. We're seeing people holding off offers. I had a situation this week where they were holding off offers, didn't get what they want, so they relisted way higher again. So we're getting back into that, I'll call it garbage again. It drives me nuts. It's just a waste of a lot of people's times because you're marketing to buyers that aren't looking in that price point. And so there's a struggle right now about like actual value sometimes. And so we're seeing a lot of that strategy coming back, and a lot of times it's not working. So a lot of buyers are still just not willing to go crazy on a property and spend like $100,000 over asking. They're kind of like traumatized, I think, from last year. And so the strategy is working, like holding off and getting multiples, like that is happening right now. But again, if you're expecting craziness and you're way under listing, buyers just are not mentally there. They're not mentally like all going to be spending hundreds of thousands over asking. So on certain properties, it's the right strategy. On a lot of them, I still would hesitate to do it. So that's just something that's sort of in the mix in our market again. Looking at Acton had 1 sale and 2 new listings. So much like the last 2 months, Acton is seeing a few sales, a few new listings, but nothing crazy happening in Acton, and our inventory is actually sitting pretty low there. Glen Williams had no sales and 1 new listing. There was no sales and no new listings in Limehouse, and the rural market had 1 sale and 3 new listings. So more stuff coming up in the rural market. So now looking at active inventory, we are up this week from 107 to 114 active listings. Again, this had a lot to do with our new listings far outpacing our sales. And even still, we had 4 properties that completely came off the market. So had those properties stayed on, our inventory would be even higher. So I suspect we are getting closer to that time where we are going to start to see inventory piling on. I really do. I'm not saying I think prices are going to plummet. I think the market's actually really strong right now, but I do think we're going to start to see more and more properties coming up. And as those buyers start to get satisfied, demand is going to diminish a bit, and that should change the market. So it's going to be really interesting to see where things go here. Looking at Georgetown had 63 listings last week. We are up to 66 listings. So looking at our active price points, under 800,000 is down from 13 to 11 active listings. That's That's a very busy price point right now. The far majority of those are actual condo units. We have like this saturation all of a sudden of condos available, which we don't usually see. Of those 11, only one is a condo townhouse, and there's quite a few like apartment condos for sale, and then there's a couple freeholds in there. 800 to $1 million remain the same this week at 12. That's still a very busy price point. Things are selling every week, but lots is coming up. 1 to 1.5 million is up slightly from 18 to 19 active listings. But like I talked about, that price point is starting to pick up and we're starting to see sales in there. So that's going to be one we're going to be watching, because last year when inventory started to pile on, that was the price point that felt it the most. But if things are moving in there, it might not, disproportionately skyrocket compared to the other price points. 1.5 million plus is up. This one's up significantly this week from 20 to 24 active listings. There are 9 properties still over $2 million, and a lot of those are what I would consider subdivision homes. The buyers, again, just not there for that kind of product. There's some like nice custom homes under $2 million. So why would someone spend that on a subdivision house when you can get like a custom home under $2 million and like a nice custom home? So we're just seeing that higher price point still, like the demand is still very, very low for those more expensive products. Looking at Acton this week, we're up from 10 to 11 active listings. Glen Williams is up from 7 to 8. Limehouse remain the same at 1, and the rural market is up from 26 to 28. 28 is a very high number for the rural market. There's lots of really expensive things available in the rural market, and people just aren't spending that kind of money on real estate right now. So we're seeing very low sales in the rural market, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to look back. I don't know that we've seen over 30 properties ever available in the rural market in the 3 years that I've been doing this. And so I think we're getting pretty close to that, and I think we're just a couple of weeks away from possibly seeing like in the 30s if a couple more properties come on and like no one's buying that bigger ticket stuff. We're just not seeing the movement that the rural properties need. Which is also interesting though, because usually when Georgetown is sitting very low as we are right now, the rural properties move a bit more, but that just doesn't seem to be the case right now. So watching all those numbers. Interesting market update this week, only because the numbers I talked about last week, what happened last April, and like these numbers are doing exactly what happened last April. And then come the start of April, we just went into like inventory climbing mode until July. And so every week I'm like super interested to get these numbers on paper so I can see if we are actually going to be following that trend. It will present itself in the next 2 to 3 weeks if we are. So this week, 25 new listings in Georgetown is a massive number, and so we'll see what happens, but I really think we're gonna start to see inventory climb. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't think we'd be where we are in the market right now, but if trends follow as they normally do, and this year's been following a lot of the normal trends, we will start to see things picking up here. But buyers are out, inventory's low right now, so the market's really strong. So I'll be back next Tuesday. Have a great week, everyone.